is up, you guys, and welcome back to Brittany Automotive. Today I'm going to show you how to degree your new cam. Before I start this video, I want to give a huge shout out to Martin over at Smallwood Race Development for not only figuring out my cam specs, but also sending me this custom cam. So as you can see here, I have my wheel on the front of the engine, a dial indicator on the first piston, and a fixed wire that's going to show me where top dead center is. Your first step here is going to be finding the highest point of travel on your first piston and then zeroing out your dial indicator. Once you've zeroed out your dial indicator, you can come to your wheel, and wherever you have your wires sticking up, you want to put that at 0 for top dead center. Now, once I have both of these zeroed out, I'm going to move the crankshaft 50 thousandths to measure out what degree it's at now. Now that it's at 50 thousandths, you can come to the wheel and see what that number is. And for me, it's at 12 degrees. Now what we're gonna do is go the opposite direction. But when we go the opposite direction, we're going the opposite direction of the crank itself. So you're gonna get slack in your timing chain. So you wanna go just past the 50 thousandths and then bring it back. Once you have it at 50 thousandths this way, you can also check the wheel, which is also at 12 degrees, which is a very good sign. As you recall, on the first one, I got 12 degrees, and on the second one, I got 12 degrees. That means that when I zeroed out my dial indicator, that this piston was at true top dead center. So basically, all I did was make sure that the wheel matched top dead center so that I could move on to the next step, because this is just so that you can get your wheel in the correct place for true top dead center. All right, so once you've done that, you can get rid of your dial indicator off of the first piston, and now we are going to move to a lifter. Now there is a fancy device for this, but I'm using the contraption that my father made, and it works perfectly fine, so we're gonna do it. I have an old lifter in there that is the same as my new lifters, and basically, I just put another dial indicator on the edge of that. The first thing you're gonna notice while you're doing this is that when you spin the crank, your dial indicator is not moving. That's a good sign. So now you're going to zero out the dial indicator to wherever the needle stops moving. And you're going to continue to turn the crank until you see it start to move. Now here, you're going to measure out each 100,000th that goes by, and that is each rotation around 0. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and you're gonna go until the needle stops. So I ended up with a number of 0.372, and what this is going to tell us is whether or not the lift is correct, to make sure that we have the correct cam and it was made correctly. So I have 0.372. What you're gonna do is multiply that by your rocker arm ratio. And now you're gonna pull out your cam spec card, which I will pull mine up, but mine says that I'm using a 1.5 rocker arm ratio. I'm actually using a 1.6 rocker arm ratio. If I do the calculation of 0.372, which is what I just got on the dial indicator, times my rocker arm ratio, which is 1.6, I would get 0.595, which is literally 1,000th off. Now, next step, don't move your stuff. The next step is going to be zeroing out your max lobe lift, because that is where you're at right now. After that step, you have reached max lobe lift. So go ahead and zero out your dial indicator very carefully. I will leave a visual on the screen, but what we are going to calculate is centerline lobe. What this is when the cam is in its lobe, the center line is up here, and what we're going to calculate is just off of that center line. So what we want to do now is go backwards 5 thousandths. So we're going to take this and rotate it backwards. And what we're actually going to do is go past that and then bring it back, just to make sure that we get rid of all of the extra give in the chain. This number is at 62, so we're gonna write down 62. Now we're gonna go back to 0 and go the opposite direction. And this number is at 152, so I'm gonna write that down. When I rotated the crankshaft counterclockwise, I got 62, and when I rotated it clockwise, I got 152. What you're gonna do is you're gonna take both of these numbers and add them together. So I took 62 and 152, added them together to get 214. Once you have this number, you're going to divide it by 2. This gives me a number of 107, and as you can see on my cam card, it is 108, which means that my cam is actually 1 degree advanced. You may be asking, what does it mean when I say the word advanced? Advanced basically just means that since my number came out 1 degree faster than the actual cam spec card, that just means that my timing is 1 degree faster. Now, if this number was higher than what your cam spec card states, that means that it's a certain degree retarded, which basically means that your timing is that degree late. So if it's 1 degree retarded, then it's 1 degree late. Two things that can change the specs of your cam based off of your cam card. Obviously, who you buy the cam from and what quality kind of cam you get, as well as what timing gears you get, depending on if you get the more expensive ones or not. Now, with me not trying to get every bit of horsepower out of this block, 1 degree difference is not that big of a deal. So to quickly reiterate what we did, we ended up finding top dead center on the first piston, and then we got our guide down here so that we could measure the center line lobe and compare it to our cam card so that we can confirm that. And then next, what we calculated was our cam lift, and also calculated that with our rocker arms so that we could confirm that towards the cam card as well. After checking all that, I feel much better that I have the correct cam in my engine and that my timing gears are pretty accurate. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you learned something, and I hope this is beneficial to you guys. As always, my socials are going to be linked down below. Also, I wanted to give a huge shout out again to Martin at Smallwood Racing for the cam, the timing chain, and pretty much all of it. He sent me the lifters, the rocker arms, everything. So huge shout out to him. Also, huge shout out to my other sponsors, Holly EFI, JEGS, Motul. I am very thankful that they are helping me with this build. Also, summer is coming really soon. It's getting super bright outside, so I'm going to leave a 10% off discount code to HEATWAVE so that you guys can get some new shades for the summer. I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you for watching.